A Valentine by Joyce Kilmer. My song should be as lilies fair and roses made of crimson light, to lie amid with fragrant hair and on the breast of my delight. Such glory is for women too high. I'll scatter them adown the street, and when my love is passing by, I'll rise up and kiss her feet. Alarm clocks by Joyce Kilmer. When dawn strides out to wake at you a farm across green fields and yellow hills of hay, the little twittering birds laugh in his way and poise triumphant on his shining arm. He bears a sword of fame, but not to harm. Wake at life it feels his quickening sway, and barnyard voices shrilling, "It is day! Take by his grace a new and alien charm." But in the city like a wounded thing, the limbs to cover from the angry chase, he steals down streets, the sickle arc-lights sing, and wantonly mock his young and shameful face. And tiny gongs with cruel fervor ring, and many a high and dreary sleeping place. Apology by Joyce Kilmer. For blows in the font of evil that never shows a breach, for terrible lifelong races to a goal no foot can reach, for reckless leaps into darkness with hands outstretched to a star, there's jubilation in heaven where the great dead poets are. There's joy over disappointment and delight in hopes of the vain. Each poet is glad there was no cure to stop his lonely pain. For nothing keeps a poet in his high singing mood like unappeasable hunger for unattainable food. So fools are glad of a folly that made them weep and sing, and Keats is thankful for Fanny Brawne and Drummond for his king. They know that on flinty soul and failure and desire, the steel of their souls was hammered to bring forth the lyric fire. Lord Byron and Shelley and Plunkett, MacDonald and Hunt and Paris, see now why their hatred of tyrants was so insistently fierce. Is freedom only a will-o'-the-wisp to cheat the poet's eye? Be it phantom or fact, it's a noble cause in which to sing and to die. So not for the rainbow taken and the magical white bird snared, the poets sing grateful chorals in the place to which they have fared, but for their lifetime's passion, a crest that was fruitless and long, they chorus their loud thanksgiving to the thorn-crowned master of song. As winds that blow against a star, rejoice Kilmer. Nor by what whim of wanton chance to radiant eyes nor sombre days, and feet that shot and light should dance what barren laborious ways, but a rays from heaven white and whole that penetrate the gloom of earth, and tears that nourish in your soul the glory of celestial mirth. The darts of toil and sorrow sent against your peaceful beauty are as foolish and as impotent as winds that blow against a star. Citizen of the world by Joyce Kilmer. No longer of him be it said, he hath no place to lay his head. In every land a constant lamp flames by his small and mighty camp. There is no strange and distant place that is not gladdened by his face, and every nation kneels to hail the splendor shining through its veil. Cloistered beside the shouting street, silent, he calls me to his feet. Imprisoned for his love of me, he makes my spirit greatly free, and through my lips that uttered sin, the King of glory enters in. Easter by Joyce Kilmer. The air is like a butterfly with frail blue wings. There the earth looks at the sky and sings. Gates and Doors by Joyce Kilmer. He was a gentle hostler, and blessed be his name. He opened up the stable the night Our Lady came. Our Lady and Saint Joseph, he gave him food and bed, and Jesus Christ has given him a glory round his head. So let the gate swing open, however poor the yard, lest the people visit you and find the passage barred. Unlatch the door at midnight, and let your lanterns glow, shine out to guide the traveler's feet to you across the snow. He also called us as hostler, he is in heaven tonight. He held Our Lady's bridle and helped her to alight. He spread clean straw before her, whereon she might lie down, and Jesus Christ has given him an everlasting crown. Unlock the door this evening, and let your gate swing wide. Let all who ask for shelter come speedily inside. Or if your yard be narrow, or if your house be small, there's a guest is coming with glorify it all. There was a joyous hostler who knelt on Christmas morn beside the radiant manager when his Lord was born. His heart was full of laughter, his soul was full of bliss, and Jesus on his mother's lap gave him his hand to kiss. Unbar your heart this evening, and keep no stranger out. Take from your soul's great portal the barrier of doubt. To humble folk and weary give hearty welcome, and rest shall be tomorrow the cradle of a king. Houses by Joyce Kilmer. When you shall die into the sky, serenely, delicately go. St. Peter, when he sees you wear the clashes keys and say, now talk to her, Sir Christopher, and hire Michelangelo. She wants to play a building, and you've got to help her play. Every architect will help erect a palace on a lawn of cloud, with rainbow beams and a sunset roof and a level star-tilled floor. And at your will you may use the skill of this gay angelic crowd. When the house is made you will throw it down and will build you 20 more. For Christopher Wren and these other men who used to build on earth will love to go to work again if they may work for you. This pork, you'll say, should go this way, and will work for all they're worth, and will come to your palace every morning and ask you what to do. And when night comes down in Heaven Town, if there should be night up there, you will choose the house you like the best of all that you can see. And its walls will glow as you drowsily go to the bed up the golden stair, and I hope you'll be gentle enough to keep a room in your house for me. In memory of Rupert Brooke, by Joyce Kilmer. In alien earth across a troubled sea, his body lies that was so fair and young. His mouth is stopped, the father's songs unsung. His arm is still, that struck to make men free. But let no cloud of lamentation be where on the warrior's grave a lyre is hung. We keep the echoes of his golden tongue, we keep the vision of his chivalry. So Israel's joy, the loveliest of kings, smote now his harp, now the hostile horde. Today the starry roof of heaven rise, with psalms a soldier made to praise his Lord. And David rests beneath eternal wings, song on his lips, and in his hand a sword. Love's Lantern, by Joyce Kilmer. Because the road was steep and long, and through a dark and lonely land, God set upon my lips a song, and put a lantern in my hand. For miles and very miles of night that stretch relentless in my way, my lantern burns serene and white, an unexhausted cup of day. Our golden lights and lights like wine, how dim your boasted splendors are. Behold this little lamp of mine, it is more starlike than a star. Madness, by Joyce Kilmer. The lonely farm, the crowded street, the palace and the slum, give welcome to my silent feet, as bearing gifts I come. Last night a beggar crouched alone, a ragged, helpless thing. I set him on a moonbeam throne, today he is a king. Last night a king in auburn crown held court with splendid cheer, today he tears his purple gown and moans and shrieks in fear. Not iron bars, nor flashing spears, not land, nor sky, nor sea, nor love's artillery of tears, can keep mine own for me. Serene, unchanging, ever fair, I smile with secret mirth, and in a net of mine own hair I swing the captive earth. Main Street, by Joyce Kilmer. I like to look at the blossomy track of the moon upon the sea, but it itself half so fine a sight as Main Street used to be, when it all was covered over with a couple of feet of snow, and over the crisp and radiant road the ringing sleighs would go. Now Main Street bordered with autumn leaves, it was a pleasant thing, and its gutters were gay with dandelions early in the spring. I like to think of it white with frost or dusty in the heat, because I think it is humaner than any other street. A city street that is busy and wide is ground by 1,000 wheels, and the burden of traffic on its breast is all it ever feels. It is dully conscious of weight and sweetened with work that never ends, but it cannot be human like Main Street and recognize its friends. There were only about 100 teams on Main Street in a day, and 20 or 30 people, I guess, and some children out to play. There wasn't a wagon or buggy, or man or girl or boy, that Main Street didn't remember and somehow seemed to enjoy. The truck and the motor and trolley car and the elevated train, they make the very city street reverberate with pain. There is yet an echo left deep down within my heart, of the music the Main Street cobblestones make beneath a butcher's cart. God be thanked for the Milky Way that runs across the sky. It's a path that my feet would tread whenever I have to die. Some folks call it a silver sword, and some a pearly crown. But the only thing I think it is Main Street, Heaven Town. Martin, by Joyce Kilmer. And I am tired of earnest men, intense and keen and sharp and clever, pursuing things with brush or pen, or counting metal discs forever. And from the halls of Shadowland beyond the trackless purple sea, old Martin's ghost come back to stand beside my desk and talk to me. Still on his delicate pale face a quizzical thin smile is showing, his cheeks are wrinkled like fine lace, his kind blue eyes are gay and glowing. He wears a brilliant-hued cravat, a suit to match his soft grey hair, a rakish stick, a knowing head, a manner blithe and debonair. How good that he who always knew that being lovely was a duty, should have gold halls to wander through and should himself inhabit beauty. Or like his old unselfish way to leave those halls of splendid mirth, and comfort those condemned to stay upon the dull and sombre earth. Some people ask, what cruel change made Martin's life so sad a story? Martin? Why, he exhaled a romance, and wore an overcoat of glory, a fleck of sunlight in the street, a horse, a book, a girl who smiled. Such visions made each moment sweet for this receptive ancient child. Because it was old Martin's lot to be, not make a decoration, should we then scorn him, having not his genius of appreciation? Which joy and love he got and gave, his heart was merry as his dress. Pile all revs upon his grave, who did not gain, but was a success. Memorial Day by Joyce Kilmer. The bugle echoes shrill and sweet, but not of war it sings today. Road is rhythmic with the feet of men at arms who come to pray. Roses blossom white and red on tombs where very soldiers lie. Flags wave above the honored dead, and martial music leaves the sky. Above the rev-strewn graves we kneel, we keep the faith and fought the fight. For flying lead in crimson steel, we plunk for freedom and the right. May we, their grateful children, learn their strength, who like benefits sought, who went through fire and death to earn at last the accolade of God. In shining rank on rank arrayed they march, the legions of the Lord. He's the captain unafraid, the Prince of Peace who brought a sword. Mid-Ocean in Wartime by Joyce Kilmer. The fragile splendor of the level sea, the moon's serene and silver-veiled face, make of this vessel an enchanted place full of white mirth and golden soccary. Now for time should careless laughter be blended with song, to lend song sweeter grace, and the old stars in the unending race shall heed and envy young humanity. And yet tonight, 100 leagues away, these waters blush a strange and awful red. Before the moon, a cloud obscenely grey rises from decks that crash the flying lead. And these stars smile their immemorial way in waves that shroud a thousand newly dead. Old Poets by Joyce Kilmer. If I should live in a forest and sleep underneath a tree, a grove of impudent saplings would make a home for me. I'd go where the old oaks gather, serene and good and strong, and it would not sigh and tremble and vex me with a song. The pleasantest sort of poet is a poet who's old and wise, with an old white beard and wrinkles about his kind old eyes. For these young flippity-gibbets are rimming their hours away. I won't be still like honest men and listen to what you say. The young poet screams forever about his sex and his soul, but the old man listens and smokes his pipe and polishes its pole. There should be a club for poets who have come to 70 year. They should sit in a great hall drinking red wine and golden beer. They would shuffle in of an evening, each one to his cushioned seat, and there would be mellow talking and silence rich and sweet. There is no peace to be taken with poets who are young, but they worry about wars to be fought and with songs that must be sung. The old man knows that he's in his chair, but God's on his throne in the sky, so he sits by the fire in comfort and lets the world spin by. Poets by Joyce Kilmer. Vain is the chiming of forgotten bells, and the wind sways above a ruined shrine. Vain is a voice in whom no longer dwells hunger that craves immortal bread and wine. Light songs with breath that perish with our breath, out of our lips that have not kissed the rod. They shall not live who have not tasted death, they only sing who are struck dumb by God. Queen Elizabeth Speaks by Joyce Kilmer. My hands were stained with blood, my heart was proud and cold. My soul was black with shame, but I gave Shakespeare gold. So after aeons of flame, I may, by grace of God, rise up to kiss the dust that Shakespeare's feet have trod. Roofs by Joyce Kilmer. The road is wide and the stars are old, and the breath of the night is sweet. And this is the time when wanderlust should cease upon my feet. I'm glad to turn from the open road and the starlight on my face, and leave the splendor of out of doors for a human dwelling place. I never have seen a vagabond really like to roam all up and down the streets of the world and not to have a home. The tramp who slept in your barn last night and left at break of day will wonder only until he finds another place to stay. The gypsy man will sleep in his cart with canvas overhead, or else he go into his tent when it is time for bed. He'll sit on the grass and take his ease so long as the sun is high, and when it is dark he wants a roof to keep away the sky. If you call a gypsy vagabond, I think you do him wrong, for he never goes a-travelling, but he takes his home along. And the only reason the road is good, as the wanderer knows, is just because of the homes to which it goes. They say that life is a highway and its milestones are the years, and now and then there's a tall gate where you buy your way with tears. It's a rough road and a steep road, and it stretches broad and far, but at last it leads to a golden town where golden houses are. Roses by Joyce Kilmer. We went to gather roses and twine them in a ring, for I would make a posy for the king. I got 100 roses, the loveliest there be, from the red rose and wine and the pink rose bush, from the white rose wine and the pink rose bush, and from the red rose tree. When I took my posy and laid it at his feet, I found he had his roses 1,000,000 times more sweet. Was a scarlet blossom upon each foot and hand, and red green rose bloomed from his side of the healing of the land. And of his fair and awful king there is this marvel told, that he was a crown of linked thrones instead of one of gold. There were thorns or roses, and I saw a line of red, a little wreath of roses around his radiant head. A red rose in his sacred heart, a white rose in his face, and his breath has turned the barren world to a rich and flowery place. He is the rose of Sharon, his gardener am I shall drink his fragrance on heaven when I die. Stars by Joyce Kilmer. Bright stars, yellow stars flashing through the air, are your errant strands of Lady Mary's hair. As she slits the cloudy veil and bends down through, do you fall across her cheeks and over heaven too? Gay stars, your little eyes of baby angels playing in the skies. Now and then a winged child turns his merry face down toward the spinning world. What a funny place! Jesus Christ came from the cross. Christ, receive my soul. Each perfect hand and foot there was a bloody hole. 4 great iron spikes there were, red and never dry. Michael plucked them from the rose and set them in the sky. Christ's drop, Mary's guard, God's own man. Draw your swords and strike at hell and strike again. Every steel-born spark that flies where God's battles are flashes past the face of God and is a star. Thanksgiving by Joyce Kilmer. The roar of the world is in my ears. Thank God for the roar of the world. Thank God for the mighty tide of fears against me always hurled. Thank God for the bitter and Jesus strife and the sting of his chastening rod. Thank God for the stress and the pain of life. Now, thank God for God. The Apartment House by Joyce Kilmer. Severe against the pleasant arc of sky, the great stone box is curiously displayed. The street becomes more dreary from its shade, and vagrant breezes touch its walls and die. Here silent convicts in their chains might lie, or slaves toil dumbly at some dreary trade. Or worse than folly is the labour made, who cleft the rocks, that this might rise on high. Yet as I look, I see a woman's face gleam from a window far above the street. This is a house of homes, a sacred place, a human passion made divinely sweet. All the buildings thrill with sudden grace, bend the magic of love's golden feet. The House with Nobody in It by Joyce Kilmer. Whenever I walk to Saffron along the Erie track, I go by poor old farmhouses with their shingles broken and black. I suppose I've passed it 100 times, but always stop for a minute and look at the house, the tragic house, the house with nobody in it. I never have seen a haunted house, but here there are such things. And I hold the talk of spirits, the mirth and sorrowings. And now this house isn't haunted, and I wish it were, I do, for it wouldn't be so lonely if it had a ghost or two. This house on the road to Saffron needs a dozen panes of glass, and somebody ought to weed the walk and take his gift to the grass. It needs new paint and shingles, and the wine should be trimmed and tight. And what it needs the most of all is some people living inside. If I had a lot of money and all my debts were paid, I put a gang of men to work with brush and saw and spade. I'd buy the place and figure it out the way it used to be, and find some people who wanted a home and give it to them free. Now a new house standing empty, with staring window and door, looks idle perhaps and foolish, like a hat on its block in the store. But there's nothing mournful about it. It cannot be sad and lone, for the lack of something with it that it has never known. But a house that has done what a house should do, a house that has sheltered life, that has put its loving wooden arms around a man and his wife, a house that has echoed the baby's laugh and held up his stumbling feet, is the saddest sight, when it's left alone, and ever your eyes could meet. So whenever I go to Saffron along the Erie track, I never go by the empty house without stopping and looking back. Yet it hurts me to look at the crumbling roof and the shutters fallen apart, for I can't help thinking the poor old house is a house with a broken heart. The New School by Joyce Kilmer. The hall that will load with familiar tread of young and careless feet are still with a stillness that is too drear to seem like holiday, and never a gust of laughter breaks the calm of the dreaming street, or eyes shake velvet walls and frighten the doves away. The dust is on book and on empty desk, and the tennis racket and balls lie still in the lonely locker and wait for a game that is never played. And over the study and lecture room and river and meadow falls a stern peace, a strange peace, a peace that war has made. For many a youthful shoulder now is gave with an epaulet, and the hand that was deft with a cricket bat is defter with a sword, and some of the lads will laugh today where the trench is red and wet, and some will win on the bloody field the accolade of a lord. They have taken the youth and mirth away from the study and playing ground to a new school in an alien land beneath an alien sky. Out in the smoke and roar of the fight where lesson and games are found, and they who were learning how to live are learning how to die. And after the golden day is come, the war is at an end, a slab of bronze on the chapel wall will tell of noble dead. And every man on that radiant list will be the name of a friend, a name that shall through the centuries in grateful prayers be said. And there will be ghosts in the old school, brave ghosts with loving eyes, on the field with a ghostly cricket bed, by the stream with a ghostly rod. They will touch the hearts of the living with a flame that sanctifies, a flame that they took with strange young hands from the altar fires of God. The Subway by Joyce Kilmer. Tired clerks, pale girls, street cleaners, businessmen, boys, priests and harlots, drunkards, students, thieves, each one the pleasant outer sunshine leaves. They mingle in the stifling, loud-wheeled pen. The gate clanks to, we stir, we sway, and when we thunder through the dark, the long train weaves its gloomy way. At last above the eaves we see while God's day the night again. Hurled through the dark day at Manhattan Street, rest all night. That is my life, it seems. Through sunless ways go with reluctant feet, the sunlight comes in transitory gleams. And yet the darkness makes the light more sweet, the perfect light about me in my dreams. To a blackbird and his mate who died in the spring, by Joyce Kilmer. An iron hand stilled the throats that throbbed with loud and rhythmically, and then the flood of silver notes that drenched the world in melody. Blossomy apple boughs are yearning for the white cloisters returning, but no swift wings flash through the tree. Yet with her gallant and flat and strong shall silence take you in her net, and should death quell with radiant song whose echo thrills the meadow yet, burst a frail rap about my clinching and charm life's cruel heart with singing till the strange tears' eyes are wet. The scanted morning of the year is out and stale, no year gone. No friendly songs the children hear among the bushes on the lawn. And babies wander out a-maying, will ye, the bards after be straying, unhymned by you, what is the dawn? Nice silence, ye laughed we cannot die, above the stars is set your nest. Through heaven's fields ye sing and fly, and in the trees of heaven rest. And little children in their dreaming shall see a soft black plumage gleaming, and smile with your clear music blessed. To certain poets, by Joyce Kilmer. Nursing rivers on a strait, a thing for scornful laughter made. The merchants sneer, the clerks disdain, we are the burden of our pain. Because of you did this befall, you brought the shame upon us all. You little poets mincing there woman's heart and woman's hair. A sick and Chaucer's ghost must be to hear your lips of poesy. A heavy-handed blow, I think, would make your veins drip scanted ink. You strut and smirk your little while, so mildly delicate a while. Your tiny voices mock God's wrath, you snails that crawl along his path. Why, what has God or man to do with wet amorphous things like you? This thing alone you have achieved, because of you it is believed that all who earn their bread by rhyme are like yourselves, exuding slime. I'll cease to write for very shame, and all men spit upon our name. Take up your needles, drop your pen, and leave the poet's craft to men. Trees by Joyce Kilmer. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Vision by Joyce Kilmer. Homer, they tell us, was blind and could not see the beautiful faces looking up into his own and reflecting the joy of his dream. Yet did he see, gifted with eyes that could follow the gods to the holiest places. I have no vision of gods, not of heirs of love arrows laden, Jupiter thundering death, of Juno his wide-breasted queen, yet have I seen all of the joy of the world in the innocent heart of the maiden. Wealth by Joyce Kilmer. From what old ballad, or from what rich frame, did you descant to glorify the earth? Was it from Chaucer's singing book you came, or did what your small brushes give you birth? Nothing so exquisite as that slight hand could Raphael or Leonardo trace, nor could the poets know in fairyland the changing wonder of your lyric face. I would possess a host of lovely things, but I am poor, and such joys may not be. So God, who lifts the poor and humbles kings, send loveliness itself to dwell with me.